Hello everybody, it's Kenneth from the Archives here with another video dipping into our collections. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a festive mood, and as someone said, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So today, let's have a look at some Christmas-related archives. We're going to start off with the Joseph Lee collection, and here are a couple of examples from his periodical The Piper o' Dundee. We can see the advert for the Christmas number, which you can see was to be a particularly special issue, and we can see his take on what Christmas in Dundee was like in the early years of the 20th century. Nice typical comic Lee take on life. What Lee wasn't to know was that he would soon be spending Christmas in very different circumstances. As you probably know, Lee had a distinguished career in the Great War, but in 1917 ended up a prisoner of war. And we're lucky to have his records that he collected while in captivity as a prisoner at Carlsloe Camp and other locations. And in these we have this photograph. And this is a production that Lee and other prisoners put on to entertain themselves, and it's called A Chelsea Christmas Eve. And we believe that this was performed sometime in 1918. Lee's collection also reminds us that it wasn't just Christmas in Scotland that was the big celebration at this time. Indeed, in the early 20th century, Hogmanay and New Year was still the bigger festivity. And here we can see in Lee's City Echo in 1908 an article titled An Old Time Hogmanay, accompanied with again some wonderful Lee illustrations. Here we can see Santa at a Christmas party organised by the university ladies. Now, some people have asked who Santa is in this photograph, and this question baffles me because clearly it is Santa, although I will admit this particular Santa bared a striking resemblance to the late Professor James Caird. And on the right, we can see a faculty Christmas party, in this case the law faculty, sometime in the 1970s. So it's nice to see people having fun. Another Christmas tradition, of course, is theatre and shows, and particularly pantomimes. And we're lucky to have the Dundee Repertory Theatre collection, and that includes many interesting records relating to Christmas performances. Love this cover from Christmas 1948 that you see on the right. On the left there, we can see an early 90s Christmas time production of The Princess and the Goblin. And you may recognise the gentleman on the left as one of the stars of that production, for that was David Tennant, pre-Doctor Who fame. More poignant records are these ones, which again, like Lee's, relate to the Great War. What we have on the left there comes from the records of the Peyton family, and is an example of the famous greetings that Princess Mary, the daughter of George V, sent with a tin to all British soldiers in the armed services in the first Christmas of the war. And we're glad that this has survived. It's a nice record and a poignant record. Even more poignant is the other record we have here. This is the envelope it came in, and this is part of the record itself. It was greetings sent by the University of St Andrews, of which, of course, University College Dundee was a part, at Christmas 1915, organised by Mrs. Hercliffe, the wife of the principal, and the ladies of the university. Now, this record's got a particularly interesting story, because we originally found this as one of two unopened envelopes, and they were in a paper pile of secretary's files from several years later. And the reason for this seems to be these were returned to University College because they couldn't be delivered to the two soldiers in question. And at some point, they've just been left lying around in an office, and a secretary has used them to bookmark. And it wasn't until 2006 we discovered this. So these lay unopened for nearly 90 years. In fact, over 90 years. The soldier in question here is Private John B. Robertson. Now, when we originally found this, we didn't know a lot about him. We now know he was alive when this was written, so why it was sent back is something of a mystery. However, he did sadly die in action in 1916, and he is one of the names that was omitted from the University College War Memorial. So this gives this record a particular poignancy, I feel. Now, it couldn't end without a nice Christmas scene, and here we have a lovely Christmas scene from the 1990s, taken from Tayside House. Often said the only good thing about Tayside House was the views that it offered, showing the city's Christmas tree in the city square and some of the Christmas decorations around the Reform Street and Overgate area. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Take care, have a good Christmas, stay safe, and we'll see you again in the new year.